Hey guys, I promised some analysis a while ago, so this is going to be it. And if there's anything you want covered in more depth, let me know, because I probably won't cover the eco as much. I'll try and be everywhere as I can, but this is mainly a game because I want to show the build, the transitions, and how Viper reacts to what is seen and what he's intending his opponent to do. So, in Yellow, we actually have Random Civil, like I said, who is Viper. And he has the Mongols, and what do we know about Mongols? They have +2 sight on their cavalry, except knights, of course. So, you're talking the Scout Cavalry, Light Cavalry, and the Hussar. They get 30% more hit points on their Light Cavalry and their Hussars. I believe it's 30%. And they gather a lot faster from boar and deer, the wild animals, wild hunt. So, I've explained him. Now let's come down to Red. Red is Pos Tamian. I do have reason to believe he is Ding. Of course, correct me if I'm wrong, but Ding is another quite high level player, and that'll obviously become quite apparent. So, the standard build we see from most players is, at the start of the game, 2 villagers, grouped, house, 1 villager, group, house. But what we actually saw from Viper here was 2 on the house, 1 gets started. Now, he scattered out in this direction, his sheep started over here. So he actually moved his villager from this house to scout over here, found the sheep, brought them back to the town center. Of course, you want to have those sheep at your town center by the time this house is just about up. That way you can come back here, sheep should be about here, get your forest tree down, get some wood income, put in the town center, go into your sheep. That's the way it should be. So, we currently have 6 villagers on the sheep, 6 of course being the standard number because it allows you to keep creating villagers at a standard rate. Unless you're Britons, of course. Britons you can get away with 5, however lots of people just play to the advantage and put 6 on anyway. But we do have the lumber camp going down now. And 3 villagers going over it pretty much immediately, which is again standard build. Once you have those villagers on your sheep, you're going to be moving out to lumber, because of course you do need it. It's probably one of the most important resources once you get to feudal age, just because that's how you get all your military buildings up, skirmishers, spearmen, and well, that's just how it goes. So, Viper going to lure this boar now, luring it on the 11th villager. I will pay a lot of attention to this during the Dark Age, just because really there's nothing else to talk about, so I might actually speed it up. And talking about that, I want to talk about this lure here as well. The best way to lure a boar is to lure it while you start a new sheep. That way when you get in, it's got as little food on as possible. Because sheep do decay at a rapid rate of 1 food, and it's a standard rate, so it doesn't matter how many villagers you have on it, that 1 food will always be disappearing. And here we go, so trying to get as much food out of it as possible, and moving onto the board there, just because as Mongols, it's better to have more in it, because it can give you such a boost. This is something I want to talk about actually as well. It's forward thinking. You really have to be forward thinking to be good at this game. I'm not saying you have to be smart, but you have to do things for a reason. Everything has to have a reason. Now, the reason this house was put here, instead of over here, here, is because the boar is over here. So it means you've closed this distance here already by the time you want to lure that boar in, which is good. And there we go, actually moving back to that tree there, which isn't probably the best point I wanted to say. Moving from there probably straight to the boar would have been a better point, but you get what I mean. Every second you save in this game in Dark Age works out to a big bonus if it gets to Castle Age, just because every little second you save is an extra bit of resources. And that's great, that's exactly what you want. So we see the 4 villagers on the wood now for Random Civil, Viper. And that's going to allow him to get a lot of extra buildings out, and of course it's going to allow him to get that barracks out before he hits feudal age, which is really important. So, we see the mill go down now, and of course going to need that mill to advance up, of course, unless you decide to go for a gold camp instead, but I can't really see why you would. And another important thing as Mongols as well, you can afford to move to get deer. Deer, it gives you such a bonus when you're Mongols. You can afford to... I'm going to speed it up a bit actually, just because not much interesting happens here. I will point it out when it does. But the point is, with Mongols, you can afford to move a fair distance and go to hunt, because without a mill next to it. Because the fact is, they gather so much faster, it pretty much nullifies this time here. And going for that scout there, that was actually great, just making sure that deer. And luring the deer in, of course, because as Mongols, of course it's a good idea to lure a deer, because hell, you gather so much quicker from them. And there we go, really quick on the ball there. Second lumber camp going down for Viper, getting that next house up, so he has 25 population. And there we go, so advancing up on 20 population. Now, what I wanted to say is, this is a great build. I can't remember if I said it at the start, because it's got so many good transitions, and it works so well. Right now, he's got a lot of villages on wood, which means he's going to be going for heavy farming, and heavy farming generally means scouts or extreme amounts of trash units. But in this case, I'll tell you right now, it's going to mean scouts, which means we're going to have to see the barracks go down, and then on top of that, we're going to have to see the archery range go down. And of course, if you've got that food bonus with the Mongols, why the hell wouldn't you go with scout cavalry? Because all it costs is food. As long as you can maintain your village production and your scout cavalry production, you should be pretty safe. So there goes the barracks now, and it'll be up just as he hits feudal age, or even a little bit before. And there's actually something else I want to point out. I've got to make sure I'm actually there to make sure I point it out. And there we go, so there goes that. And getting the stable up as quick as possible. Got 4 villages on it, and that's going to be really, really important. Now we're going to dart down over here, and we're actually going to come to here. So we can see here, this village has only got 4 health. Most likely because it lured the boar in, and at that stage it lost quite a bit of HP, and he didn't lose it, which is good. But the thing I really want to show you here is really important. We see the farms go down, which is good, and naturally doing the correct thing. Village on low health, put it right next to the town center. Best way you can go about it. But if we actually watch right now, I believe it should happen in the next few seconds. Here we go. So he scouts forward with this one here, and here we go. Selects the individual villager and notices it has low HP. These initial 2 farming villages, it's always a good idea to check them, because if they are low like this, you can do exactly what you're about to see here. Dart in, hit the villager, run off, take no damage, and kill a villager. Brilliant play there from Viper. That is just absolutely brilliant. Just the amount of attention to detail he has is crazy. So the other thing as well that you have to pay attention to is the amount of villages he does have on wood. Like I said, I've pointed this out already, but it means he's going to be able to get those farms up, which is really important. Plus, he's actually moving down here. Like I said, it is affording. You can move all the way down here, put a mill up, and gather from these deer, just because it's still efficient. And mostly that's because of the Mongol bonus. With someone else, if you had like Huns or something like that, you probably wouldn't see this. In fact, you wouldn't. Just because the time it takes them to get from here to here outweighs the bonus of gathering from Hunt. But with Mongols, the bonus is so much better, so you can get away with it. And we're about to see an amazing amount of farms just get dropped down here. And the thing as well with town centers is there's a proper way to lay out your farms. And you can generally tell how high level the person you're up against is by generally the way they lay out their farms. So there's still enough for another 2 around here, and they'll be perfectly in line. So there is a proper way to lay them out, believe it or not. And I might even put the link to it in this because it's actually really well done. I think it's on AoC box. I first saw it. So congrats to Precision for that, because that was actually freaking genius to put up there, because not many people know about it. But there is an exact way to do it. So at the moment we can see Viper still hasn't gone for gold, which is interesting, because it means he won't be able to go for archers, or men-at-arms, but of course archers being the logical response. So we're going to see him do a great transition here. Like I've said, this whole game, it's going to be about the transitions and the way he micros all this, and the way he reacts to his opponent, and reacts to his opponents reacting to him. So I know that's really weird sentence, reacts to him reacting to him, but that's exactly what happens here. So we've got quite a few scout cavalry here, and he knows this gold's over here, and he knows any minute now that Tammy should be going for archers. So here we go, gold coming across here, going to be able to put down on this gold camp, and he's going to start getting that gold production up, so he's going to start getting some archery range. Archery range units, which is naturally going to be the archer, because he knows he's got scouts, and when you've got scouts, skirmishes absolutely get destroyed by scouts just because they close the distance so well, and they do such good damage against them. So here we go, actually, we're about to see this. He's going to force Tammy off this gold mine here, which of course is really important. And I just want to talk about this for a second, because with Turks, naturally, gold is king. Like every civilization, gold is king. But with Turks, gold is king, queen, bishop, and like the duke. It is everything to Turks. Without them, they have absolutely shocking trash units, so gold is everything to them. Right now we see that scout cavalry here get taken. So every second you delay these villages like this, it's good, because he's not getting that gold income. Now, the thing I want to move into after talking about that is, when you have scouts on the field, I said it's not a good idea to produce skirmishes. So we can see, I'm actually going to swap over here, we can see that Tammy is going to be going for archer combination, because if those scouts do close in on them, they're still going to be able to do a fair bit of damage, especially if they outmass the scouts and they're sitting at the top of a hill. So you should be able to do quite a bit of damage with that, and it's going to neglect the fact that he's not going to be able to create skirmishes at all. Otherwise they're just going to get taken down by this cav extremely easy, and he currently doesn't know what Viper's going for. He hasn't even scouted him. Seems he lost his scout. But with that, when you produce scouts, your opponent's naturally going to produce spears as well. And what beats spears and archers is skirmishers. Skirmishers are so effective at dealing with both these units for their cost. They work so well. I cannot stress that enough. Skirmishers, of course, I can just absolutely stutter step, or you can just kite your spearmen along and just pick them off really easily. Because spearmen, of course, don't have a huge amount of HP, and they have no armor at all. So there's no reason you can't just use skirmishers against them. And when Tammy's going archer combination as well, he's going to be able to do a lot of damage to those skirmishers. So here we go. He's moved completely out of this, so he's done with scouts. He's moved into double archery play with the blacksmith. And if I'm correct, there we go. Skirmishers are being produced. Skirmishers, of course, going to be able to pick away at everything Tammy has at this point. And that spear getting picked off there really quickly. And another thing, I want to pay attention to this blacksmith when he gets his researchers. Now, if I'm correct, because I actually recorded this game before, but my mic was off, and you have no bad habit. I thought it was like a 26-minute video, so you can tell I'm not happy about it. Well, I don't sound not happy about it, but naturally I'd prefer to have done it once and be over it. But since I did this, I know where all the blank parts are really well, so we can jump into here as well. We can have a look at his economy. So he does have a lot of villages on wood right now, mainly due to the fact that skirmishers are quite wood-heavy units. They are a lot heavier on wood than spears and archers. Archers, of course, not costing that much wood at all, so generally it does that. And skirmishers, I believe, actually take longer than archers to build, so that's an interesting fact there. But of course, correct me if I'm wrong, because usually I'm just waffling on about something I'm not really thinking about when I'm doing these. So there we go. So I'm going to speed this up again, because like I said, not a lot happens. And right now, we can see that Viper's able to get his gold count up quite high, mainly due to the fact he's only creating, since the start of the game, all he's created is food and wood units, trash units. So he's been able to keep that gold count up really high, and not transition over a lot, so he's been able to have a lot of villages on wood and food, which is good. And microing around that scout there, and here we go, walling off here for Tammy. And again, like I said, Turks are really important with gold, especially when you've got two in this section. Wouldn't be surprised actually if you decide to put a tower down to defend this, because you need it so badly. But hey ho, if you don't decide to, you can just mass archers in this area, keep this hill bonus, whatever you decide to do. So here go the scout cavalry, going to be able to be pushed away by that. And right now, here's something I want to say as well. Viper knows there's a hell of a lot of archers here, and he knows he has a hell of a lot of skirmishers here. So right now, you should be feeling pretty happy. So you just want to keep an eye on these archers and watch where they are on the map. So generally, the best idea you can do is to flank them, get the hill bonus on them, and just absolutely freaking obliterate them. And we can see that Viper is going up to Castle Age. However, Tammy is halfway there already. So Viper is going to be a bit behind when that comes out. Scouts, of course, pretty decent against archers, but when they're outmassed like this, you're going to be lucky to take out 2 or 3 archers. 1 archer if you're lucky. So that shows that. But we see the 3rd archer range going down for Viper now. Blacksmith going for fletching now, because he knows his archers are on the move, so he needs it. And that's another thing as well, deciding when to get your researchers. If you're using scouts like this, you don't have to absolutely rush it out for fletching, because you're not using them. But as soon as you see your opponent move out, you want to get this. And a bit of bad luck for Tammy here actually as well, because he does run into these 2 wolves, and nobody likes running into wolves. But of course, keeping that gold count up, keeping the archer count up as much as possible. The double range down, of course, already got the blacksmith. Something I'd like to point out as well, he does have his upgrades, but he does not have that final armor upgrade, which you can have yet. Well, the first armor upgrade. In fact, neither player has it right now. They're not deeming it that important. For skirmishers, of course, the fletching upgrade is really important, because essentially it's giving them 50% more attack, because they do only have 2 to start out with, and when you put it up to 3, that is actually a big difference. Especially when it comes down to attacking villages. So we have Tammy upgrading there. Now, Tammy's goal here is going to be to hold out here, hopefully not get attacked, and get that crossbow upgrade, get that bodkin arrow upgrade, and then be able to just obliterate these scouts. But the way it's moving in, we can see the Viper is currently moving in with these skirmishers, and there we go. So Tammy sees it, and he realizes he's going to have to start kiting, or he's going to start losing quite a few of these skirmishers. So losing 1 there, and essentially Viper doesn't really need these scouts anymore. They're pretty much underrated until they go up to light cavalry at any rate. Especially when you're up against a Castle Age opponent. So right now the scores are really close, but we're about to see Viper go up. Come on. There we go. And the score lead going to Viper by about 150 points. So, actually more close to 200 right now. But you know what I mean. So, here we go. We have the Elite Skirmisher upgrade on the way. Crossbow being done there for Tammy. And we're about to see Bodkin done for these guys here, which is Tammy's army. And Bodkin, of course, going to be really important for these skirmishes here, of course. Cutting off these units here as well. We can see Tammy has noticed this earlier. And Viper coming around with the flank, which is really important, of course. And I might just speed this up because I'm just waiting here for a little bit of an attack to happen. What we see is, we see a trade from both players going to each other's base and going for maximum damage. So I'm going to stop this really quickly, and we are going to see Viper move straight under this town center here, which of course is going to be really important. And we see Tammy move up here and try and start to pick off some of these villages. I believe he picked off 2. I believe it's 2, could have been 1. There we go. And we've got Viper over here singly targeting these villages as he can, taking off 2 here, 1 here, and delaying the siege workshop, which is really a smart idea. Because when it comes down to it, the skirmisher's natural enemy is the mangonel, and the mangonel's natural enemy is the knight. So there we go. So we see still using this 1 stable, which is really important. And losing quite a few units over here, these crossbows actually. Crossbows just moving through the space here, and Viper just having trouble being everywhere to deal with it. Which is important because, you know, Viper's generally everywhere, so you can't really do a lot against him. And these villages here getting forced away from this gold mine. As I said, gold is everything to Turks, and essentially these are idle villages. Again, you may as well not have these villages when they're idle. Another thing I want to point out as well is, while this was happening, Viper's actually moved some of his lumberjacks over here, so he's got a constant supply of wood, which is good. And as well, these skirmishes here have cut off this area, cut off this farming area here. So he's done great with his positioning as well. We see Tammy's gone up for the 3 town centers already. We see Viper still sitting on 1. However, he has managed to push all these crossbows out of his base, which again is really important. Now, I'm going to pause it off. I'm going to have a look at the economies quickly, just because there's quite a few farms up here, quite a few on wood. But we can see Tammy does have the economy advantage, believe it or not, just because of the fact he's got these town centers up. And as long as he's producing archers, he's going to have that constant food income, as long as these farms are functioning. So essentially with these town centers at the moment, they're just working as drop-off points, because Viper has just held this entire area here under his grasp. And it means that Tammy's not going to be able to produce any more villages, because he doesn't have any food income right now. We do see that the siege workshop has gone up for Tammy though. Mangonel has been produced right now, and this knight's up here just to gate up against any mangonel's movement. And there we go, picking off those spears first, because naturally that knight doesn't want to go up against its natural enemy, the spear. And spear moving forward here, and we are going to see a split between these skirmishes actually to guard both these gold points, just because as Turks always, you don't want your opponent to go for gold, because if they do, it generally means they can get a castle up and do the damage. And here we go. So I'm going to slow this down here quickly. Goes in for the attack on this thing here. If that spear didn't make it, that mangonel would be dead. So the point of bringing that knight in here as well is to deal with the mangonels. However, currently on 8 HP, it gives it enough for these skirmishes to deal with, but it gets repaired, so there's not a lot they can do. Market going down for Tammy as well. He needs to get this up, and he knows it just because he has no access to gold whatsoever. The 2 reasonably close to his base are just getting picked off at, and these skirmishes here are just doing damage to these villagers up here. So it really needs to be damage done by Tammy right now. We're going to skip up here, and I know there's going to be some big hits here. So we're going to keep focusing on this just until these units get played down here. So coming through it, actually, while I've got this downtime, I just want to say as well, if you think I've missed anything out, if there's anything more you want me to cover in real big depth, let me know in the comments, and I will, because this is my first complete analysis, so let me know what you think. So, here we go again, going to be able to deal with these crossbows, but not this mangonel, because he doesn't have any knights in the area. Good split there. But of course, without all the upgrades on these skirmishes, plus 2 attack they could have in Imperial Age, it's not a lot they can do to these mangonels. Mangonels have great pierce armor, and they just do so well against any type of arch unit, especially skirmishes because they're low base. And there we go, so pretty much losing all these skirmishes right now for Viper, and a few more damage there, and a good attack around here could probably finish them off, but coming through here, losing a few more, and looks like he's going to get away, and he's going to proceed up to here to just harass those villagers a little bit until they get taken out by these mangonels and crossbows. Anyway, moving back down here, we see Viper's put up his 2nd town center and his 3rd, covering this gold, this stone. He's got his lumber camp over here, his main one, and then he's got this other one over here, so all his resources right now that he needs are covered, which is great, which is exactly what he wants. And the thing I want to point out now, he's transitioning back into knights, which is interesting, because he's gone from this scout play into the triple archery play, back into a triple stable play. which is interesting because when you pair up knights and skirmishers, they can pretty much deal with everything. Everything that needs to be dealt with, they can pretty much deal with. So that's a great composition there. So again, like I said, take note of the build, because it is a great build and is reacting perfectly to what his opponent's doing. All crossbows, mangonels, and spears. So that means, the skirmishers deal with the crossbows and the spears, and then the knights can also deal with the crossbows and the mangonels. So the real thing he's got to worry about is those spears mainly just closing in on his skirmishers, not giving him much of a chance to attack. So right now, here's an important piece as well. I'm just going to fast forward this up until these armies here meet, and here we go. Fog of War for Viper right now is he doesn't know there's a mangonel. He doesn't know this mangonel's closing in, and if we pause it quickly and jump over to Tammy, he does not know there's so many knights up here, which again is an extremely important factor, because knights of course will be able to take out this mangonel, and seems they've got that plate armor upgrade already. They're going to be able to do a lot of damage to these crossbows. They're going to be able to close the distance and jump in there, especially if they get this heal bonus. And they're going to be able to do a lot of damage. So Tammy taking the right response here and retreating. We do see the Siege Workshop up for Viper, which is being used for the battering rams, which of course is good, and the timing on this is actually impeccable. It is so well just executed by Viper right now. There's currently 400 points in it, which again isn't a lot because there hasn't been a heap of fighting right now. In fact, if we came down to it, Viper's probably lost the most units but the least resources, mainly due to the fact that it's been skirmishes. Now, here's what happens here is just so well done. He moves up with these skirmishes from this side. Knights from this side. Wants to catch those mangonels, however they have been moved back. So moves back around the Siege Workshop here and pushes in with these skirmishes. He's going to be able to get some villager harass here, why the hell not. And then he's going to be able to push in with these crossbows as well. Now, the other thing that happens here is, just select this quickly, he's taking this out and splits up his knights, smart move, and here we go. The battering rams have been tasked up here, and the thing is, these mangonels are going to be down exactly when these guys come in range. So it's perfect timing right now from Viper. Managed to kill off this crossbow army here, these villagers. You see, Tammy knows that these guys are coming in now, and he has no army left now. Viper's got a big advantage, especially with that +2 armor on those knights, +1 armor on these guys. He's just going to be able to do so much damage, and here we go. There's a good game from Tammy. So, the game was played extremely well by both players, and Viper just had so much impeccable timing there. So again, if there's anything else you want me to go into, like, a lot more in depth in the analysis, let me know, because I'll definitely do a new one, and I'll be checking the comments for this video. Not saying that I don't check all my comments, just a lot I don't reply to. So, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you